Hello, it's me again, here to show off more books that I have bought because I just can't seem to stop. So, I think it's not that bad, but when we go through the big old pile, I'll let you be the judge of whether I should slow down. I will give some reasonings for some. Um, before we get to that, I want to show you a couple of cool things because I've been out and about, and I've recorded a few things that aren't long enough to be their own vlog. So first, I will show you this footage. This is a second-hand bookshop that we found in a place called Buxton, which is a very small town in the north that's in the middle of the Peak District. It's a very picturesque little place. And there was like 4 or 5 floors of second-hand books. And it was so interesting to look at. They had ones from the Folio Society, and I was like, wait, the ones who do special editions? I guess they've been going for longer than I realised. But then you've also got these really obscure things, like books from the 90s and how to skateboard, and then some classics. But what I really liked about this place is I wasn't seeing a lot of books that you tend to see over and over. So if you find something cool, you really feel like you've found a cool gem. We ended up walking away with a little copy of The Invisible Man, which I should go pick up really, because actually that belongs to be in the hall. So I'll splice myself in holding it because I don't want to interrupt Jack's lunch to go pick up a little book. So here it is. It's even got sprayed edges, look. So this is The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. And look. So I've told Jack that he needs to sign this to continue on the story. So we've got one from 1950, and then someone that signed it later on is 79. So that was a lot of fun, and I'll definitely go back there the next time we're having a day out at Buxton. And then a week later, let's say a week and a half later, I went to a book signing. So I found out that at the Waterstones in Manchester, R.F. Kuang was signing Babel. And yes, I am going to pronounce it Babel, because that is the British way to say it. And it really winds me up how many people of mine say Babel. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was the Babel fish. It's Babel. And I also really love that Jack Edwards is not going to read this book because he doesn't want the hassle of Americans telling him he's wrong, which I find quite amusing. So went to that Waterstones and ended up chatting to someone in the queue for the half an hour that it took for us to actually get the book signed, which was really lovely. And R.F. Kuang was really nice and pleasant, which was really cool. It was a bit of a weird book signing because I've not read any of her books yet. So this was a bit of a weird one for me. Normally when I get things signed, it's someone I'm a huge fan of. But the reason for this is that, one, I had the time to just go do it, and two, the description for Babel just ticks all of my boxes. It's fancy, but it's got an Oxford setting. Like, not Oxford specifically is appealing to me, but I like it when we get these English settings that are a little bit outside London. And then this huge focus on language. Anything that studies language, I absolutely love. So to combine all these things together, I'm all in, and I've heard so many good things, so I'm putting a lot of faith in this book that I've not read yet. So yeah, I wasn't able to do the fan thing of, I really love this book that you wrote, and was just saying how excited I was and why I was excited for it. And you can see a photo of me looking like a dog. I will say the reason that I look like this is that the table she was on was very short, so it's that weird thing where you're standing over someone but trying to look polite and not lean in. I've stupidly put that book at the bottom of the pile, so we'll get to that at the end. Well, that's all of the vloggy chatter out of the way. Let's look at some books. So there's a couple of quirky ones in this pile, which is a lot of fun. But let's start with one that I actually bought back in May. Remember that stupid book haul I did when I had a load of fantasy books because they were half price on the website for May the 4th? This was in that batch as well. Just as a King's. I was kind of intrigued by this one. And yeah, I thought this was going to arrive months ago, but it turns out it was actually a pre-order for the paperback, because the paperback wasn't out yet. But it's actually fine. It was so behind because have I read any of those books? I don't think I've read any of those books yet. There's reasons. But yeah, I don't think I've read any of those fantasies yet. I did explain that a little bit in my summer TBR, that some of it was because it was getting hot and I wanted to pick some books. I'll get there. We've got the rest of the year. We're still okay. We've got, what, 4 months? Oh, cool. We're fine. Next on the list was just purely for the aesthetic. It was a beautiful Dune special edition. The main reason why I chose to do this now is because I was sort of reminded of it. And this edition used to be visible in most like UK bookshops. And then I guess they just sold out the print of it. And I've not seen it being replaced, so I thought I'd best go hunt it down online and get it before it gets very hard to get a hold of. Like, I've already read the book, I love it, but it's just such a beautiful copy. And you have you have this art inside, and then the Fear is the Mind Killer. Sort of like, I don't know how well you can see that, but embossed in the front. Yeah, this is mainly inspired because of the Daniel Green video about special editions. And he's right, it's a good balance between it being a bit of a fancy copy, but not being too expensive. I think the only way this would be improved is if there was like more illustrations throughout the book. Because when some people start illustrating Dune, they come up with some beautiful art. So yeah, that's that. So the reason why I'm not further into my summer TBR, and the reason why I've got a chunk of books this month, is partly because I really wanted to finish off things that I was reading through. So I had my summer TBR. I finally read the 5th season, the first book, and I really enjoyed it, and I decided I'm gonna finish this rather than waiting around and spending a few months and then picking up the next one. I wanted to get through it and get it finished, because I was really enjoying it, and each book is quite short, and jumping from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, I feel like I've made the right choice because they run on from each other so well. They almost, I think once I'm finished, they almost feel like they could just be one big book. So that means I got Obelisk Gate and Stone Sky. This one's already been read, and I've made a start on this one. So there's 2 bought, but also 2 books read fairly quickly. And so yeah, I did interrupt my TBR, but I feel like it's for a good reason. I feel like choosing to finish off what I started is a good reason to bump up some other books. This is a great series, by the way. If you've been waiting on it, if you've got copies of these that you've not got around to, do yourself a favour, just get around to them. They're so good. Oh. And in a similar fashion, we have Mistborn Era 2. I've spoken a lot already about how much I've been enjoying Mistborn. Era 1 was fantastic, and I did question whether I'd jump into Era 2 so quickly. Obviously, the bonus of that, if I do, is that we have the 4th book coming. But I can always wait for that. But the reason why I went ahead and got them is because I realised how short they are. Like, we're talking half the size at least of the original Mistborn. So I figured it's actually not going to take me long to get through them. So yeah, I shoved them on my list so that they're there. And I imagine I will get through them pretty quickly. What should I do when the 4th one comes out? See, this is a problem when you get into a series that's in the middle, because you tend to then... I have so many series where I have a paperback or a few paperbacks and then one giant hardcover next to it. Like, I have this with Name of the Wind. Name of the Wind is this tiny paperback, and then sat next to it is a huge chonker of a hardback. So I don't know what I'll do when the 4th one comes out. I might get it digitally, and then at a later date, just pick up the paperback. Or maybe I'll just continue the trend of hodgepodge series. We'll see. Next were a couple of semi-impulse buys online. The first is this one. The Man Who Leapt Through Time. So this is the art of Mamoru Hosoda, who is a director I absolutely love. He's in some of my favourite anime films, Summer Wars, the original Digimon movie, a classic, which is referenced in here, which makes me very happy. Let's find it. There it is! There it is! We had Wolf Children, Ame and Yuki, most recently Belle, which I actually wasn't a huge fan of. But what else? We had The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Yeah, he does such amazing work. I love him. Yeah, Wolf Children will break your heart, definitely, but it's worth it. And Summer Wars is just like such good fun. And he blatantly just stole his own plot from Digimon, but I really appreciate that though. Anyway, going off topic, I should be talking about the book. So this is like an art book, so we have like original sketches and things like that. We have like storyboards. So I've not actually had time to sit and just glance through this. I should actually put this downstairs so that if Jack is watching something I'm not interested in, I can just sit and go through the artwork. I hope that's picking up. And in a similar vein was this lovely book. So I spotted this when Charla, who does Japan vlogs, she posted about it, and like this is one of those books that would only be sold in Japan. But thankfully it is dual language. It is in Japanese and English, and it's basically just watercolors of food that she has eaten and found, with a little description of where she got it, where she ate it, and maybe a little bit of history about it. I've not read all of it yet. But I think I saw it and I was like, this art is absolutely beautiful. And just getting to see Japanese food just makes me happy. Getting to see food in general makes me happy. So yeah, this was a bit of a random one. It had been sat on a tab on my phone for ages, but it's one of those where you have to import it from the right place. So I needed to transfer that bookmark to my PC so I could sit down and figure out how to get hold of this book. I've got it. Found it. I don't. What's the title of this? So this is by Kayleen Falls. Come on. The Wonderful and Delicious in Japan. That's what it's called. There we go. So hopefully that's enough info if you want to find it for yourself. Okay, last batch. Ugh. So, while I was getting stuff signed, I thought I might as well have a browse, because it's not very often I'm in the huge Waterstones in Manchester. It's 3 floors, so pretty big. So there's always going to be things in there that I wouldn't see otherwise. So after getting my bit signed, I was wandering around. Ended up in the history area. This is something over the last couple of years I've gained more interest in. I would never go in that area when I was a teen or in my 20s, but now I'm interested. So the first book I got was We Have Been Harmonized by Kai Strittmatter. This is all about the surveillance by the Chinese government of its people. So it's another political book that will probably make me a little bit depressed. But I've heard bits and pieces, and I've seen a couple of videos about things that are going on there, things like the facial recognition, which is terrifying. So I thought reading a book would have more detail to terrify me even more. But I think this is going to be one that I need to read whilst holding a highlighter and have some tabs on the go. I don't do that very often, but there's already quotes in this that I want to keep a hold of. So yeah, it's going to be one of those. It seems good so far. And then next is What's Your Type by Merv Emmer? This one is about the rise of the Myers-Briggs test, and how and why it swept the world. I was hoping this would be more of a funny but interesting, light-hearted book, because importantly, the Myers-Briggs test is kind of nonsense, and yet we continue to use it. One way that it gets used in quite a worrying way is for job interviews. My friend told me that she went for a job interview, or she was scoping out a job, and they presented her with this personality test, and that doesn't help anybody. You're just she might as well tell them her star sign. It's in the same kind of realm. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what happens there. And finally, the duo. So, like I said, I haven't actually read Orapong. I've got Poppy War on digital, and I just hadn't. I wanted to try and read it ahead of the signing, but just hadn't found the time. So I thought, well, why not? I'll pick up the first copy as well, get that signed. There it is. And And the reason why it says this is because they realised they wouldn't have time for everyone to have the chat with her about their names and spelling names. So to try and speed things up, they're like, someone went along the line and said, do you want your name in the book? And they're like, yes. So they had another member of staff sort of organise it so that there's a post-it note that she could use to spell their name. Very clever. So, oh, maybe I shouldn't have left it on so long. Oh no, has it actually left like a sticky bit? What? What rubbish post-it notes are these? No! Oh my god, this is a disaster. I'm actually really upset. Okay, Jack is good at dealing with these situations. I might give it to him to rub off. What post-it note is this? Anyway, there she is, and there is the signed page. Oh, maps, beautiful maps. And I really like this one, a map of a tower. Silverworking, faculty offices, instruction rooms, reference materials, literature, interpretation, legal, lobby. Oh, I love it. And there we have it. So many books. So one book was just to look fancy on my shelf. We've got a couple that are arty books. Some were catching up on series I'm already into. And one was, well, two were because I could get them signed. So yeah, I didn't intend to go out of my way to get a lot of books, but you know, we never do. But you know, it's all okay because we can balance things out with an unhaul video, which I now want to record. There's fewer books in that one though. But some books will be leaving the house. So look forward to that. And look forward to me chatting about what I've read in August. So I need to record that at some point too. And I hope you enjoyed looking at all the books that I got. I will catch you later, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.